Welcome to the video tutorial and read aloud for the first source that you'll be analyzing in the China DBQ. It is by Jackson J. Spielvogel, and it comes from Discovering Our Past, A History of the World, Early Ages. So this is the textbook that we've used in class, and this is a secondary source. Before we begin reading, I'm going to go over some vocabulary that is in this reading, and I have the definitions in the slide presentation, so we'll go to that now. I'm on slide 10 of the lesson 1 slide presentation, and I'm going to go over vocabulary and terms from the Spielvogel source. Confucianism, noun, a philosophy based on the teachings of Confucius, who valued duty. Taoism, noun, philosophy concerned with living in harmony with nature. Legalism, noun, it's a philosophy that stressed the importance of laws. Moderately, it's an adverb, meaning somewhat, some, not completely. Noble, it's an adjective. It also can be used as a noun, but here it's used as an adjective, and it means part of the highest social class or relating to the highest social class. I am back on page 5 in the DBQ packet to begin reading our first source. You can see I've already read and highlighted the text. I would encourage you, if you have downloaded it as a PDF, to highlight as you go along, or if you printed it out, to be highlighting, underlining. It'll help you engage with the text and be able to find the information later on when you are answering the questions and ultimately writing your paragraph. And before we get started, again, I want to emphasize, so the topic of this source is Chinese philosophies. So we will be reading about all three of the ancient Chinese philosophies for this project: Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. And again, this is a secondary source. During the period of the Warring States, rulers of rival states fought each other. Armies wiped out the entire villages of men, women, and children. Many Chinese looked for ways to stop the killing. They wanted to bring order to society. Between 500 BCE and 200 BCE, Chinese thinkers developed three major philosophies. They were Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. These philosophies were different from one another. However, the philosophies had the same goal. Each philosophy aimed to create a well-run and peaceful society. After decades of war, Chinese people welcomed these new ideas. Confucianism was based on the teaching of a man named Kong Chu, who later became known as Confucius, which means Master Kong. Born about 550 BCE to a farming family, he lived when rival kings fought each other for power. Confucius criticized the misrule of these kings. He urged the people to follow beliefs of their ancestors. If people would do that, Confucius believed, it would bring peace and harmony to China. Duty is a central idea of Confucianism. Duty means that a person places the needs of a family and community above his, her, or their own needs. Each individual has certain duties to fulfill. It is the duty of parents to love their children, and it is the children's duty to respect their parents. Husbands should support their wives, and wives should obey their husbands. Above all, a ruler had a duty to rule justly and to set an example of right living. In return, subjects should be loyal and obey the law. Confucius believed that if each individual carried out his or her own duties, society would do well. He urged people to be good. This meant behaving moderately, keeping one's promises, honoring traditions, and respecting the elderly. Confucius also advised people to seek knowledge. To Confucius, the right way to live was similar to the idea known as the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Confucius believed that government service should be open to all men of ability and merit, and not limited to those of noble birth. The aristocrats did not want to open government to more people. They did not want to lose their power. However, over time, the Chinese developed the practice of choosing government officials through civil service tests. Many people honored Confucius as a great teacher. His followers wrote down his sayings and collected them in a work called the Analects. After Confucius died in 479 BCE, his teachings spread throughout China. Confucianism continued to shape Chinese society and government until the early 1900s CE. Another Chinese philosophy known as Taoism also promoted a peaceful society. The word Tao means path and is often translated as the way. Taoism began with the ideas of Lao-Tzu. Lao-Tzu is believed to have lived during the same time as Confucius. Like Confucianism, Taoism teaches people how to live a good life. Taoists believed that people should free themselves from worldly desires and live simply. They should turn to nature and the Tao, the spiritual force that guides all things. In this way, they would enjoy a happy life. Taoism is different from Confucianism in some ways. Followers of Confucius taught that people should work hard to make the world better. Taoism taught people to turn away from worldly affairs and live in harmony with nature. Many Chinese followed both Confucianism and Taoism. They believed that the two philosophies supported each other. A third philosophy stressed the importance of a system of laws. This philosophy became known as legalism, or the school of law. A thinker named Han Feize introduced the ideas of legalism during the 200s BCE. Unlike Confucius and Lao-Tzu, Han Feize believed that humans are naturally evil. Strict laws and harsh punishments were necessary to force people to do their duty. Many aristocrats supported legalism because it emphasized force. Legalism did not require rulers to consider the needs or wishes of their people. Its ideas led to cruel punishments for even the smallest crimes. Analyze the following sources in order to answer the question, which ancient Chinese philosophy most benefits society? Now we will take a look at the document analysis questions on page 6. I am on page 6, the DBQ packet, and I'm going to be reading through the questions of the document analysis. And remember that all of your answers will be submitted on Schoology. So if you prefer to answer it on paper first, that is a wonderful option. Question 1, vocabulary. Define the following terms: philosophy, Confucianism, Taoism, legalism. So these three terms, if you need help reminding yourself of the meaning, you can go back to the slide presentation and find the definitions. Question 2, what is the central idea of Confucianism? And that answer is highlighted in the text. 3, did Confucius believe in equality for all? In the reading that does not explicitly answer this question, you will have to do some deduction based off of your understanding of Confucianism. 4, what is the difference between Confucianism and Taoism? 5, what belief about humans did Han Feize have that was different from Confucius and Lao-Tzu? 6, why do aristocrats support legalism? 7, After reading Spielvogel, which philosophy most benefits society? Give at least one example why. So for that question, think about the three philosophies, Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. And based off of the information that you have so far, which one do you think most benefits society? And give a reason why. Awesome. Once you've done that, you can go to Schoology and submit your answers there. Good luck.